eventually.
This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
Good morning and welcome to the debate show. It is Saturday, December 6th, getting close to Christmas, folks. I hope everybody's having a good morning. I am BA. This is James Martin and Jack Hurst. Hope you gentlemen are having a fine start of the day. Our first question is an NBA question, folks. Did the Los Angeles Clippers handle the Chris Paul situation correctly by releasing him and the manner in which they did? Go ahead, Jack.
Absolutely, they handled it the correct way. I mean, Chris Paul was becoming what's known as high maintenance. And let's clear something up. Chris Paul's not a legendary player. I mean, he's not even close to being the caliber of Isaiah Thomas and Jason Kidd. They were far better players than he is. If you want to compare point guards, Chris Paul has never won anything in the NBA. He's never even went to an NBA Finals. I mean, no, excuse me. He went to a Finals with the Phoenix Suns. They were up 2-0 against the Milwaukee Bucks, and then they proceeded to lose 4 in a row. And Chris Paul was becoming what's known as a clubhouse lawyer. He tried to be a leader of that team to the point where he was totally putting down other players there, putting down management, putting down the coaching staff, saying, I'm holding everybody accountable. Well, who are you to hold people accountable? He was playing 14 minutes a game. His contribution at this point in his career was just so-so. And you got veterans on there like Kawhi Leonard and James Harden, who prime for prime were better players than Chris Paul, prime for prime. If you give me the three of them at the age of 25 and tell me which three I want in order, I have to decide between Leonard and Harden first, and then Chris Paul, who's a terrific player. And by the way, Chris Paul is going to be a Hall of Famer someday after he retires. And I'm not going to have a big argument with that because he accumulated a big body of work and was a really wonderful, wonderful player year after year. Wonderful, wonderful player, just not a high impact player who would alter teams' fortunes. And you have to look no further or look back on his first stint with the LA Clippers. They were loaded with talent. That team never went to a finals, loaded with talent. And any other great player virtually would have at least gotten his team to the finals at the very least on that Clipper team, if not having won it per se. And Chris Paul was being a pain in the butt. The Clipper management would be talking to him to cool it. They'd be having conversations with him. He was having a complete lack of cooperation. Reportedly, he didn't even talk to the coach, Ty Lue, who's a very respected coach, by the way. He wasn't even talking to him for weeks. For weeks. How can you have a player on the team who's not talking to the coach? He's like above the coach. If his name is Michael Jordan or LeBron James, they can get away with it. The owner could back off and they could just learn to live with it. But Chris Paul, who at this point in his career is no more than a reserve player, yet he wants to take over. I understand he wants to win. It's good he's showing an attitude. Come on, guys, let's turn it around. But the way he talked to other guys on the team supposedly was upsetting. But for him to have the audacity, well, I'm going to hold management accountable. Once again, who the heck are you to say you're going to hold management accountable? It was a pain in the butt, a first-class pain in the butt. And the Clippers, and I'm going to wrap up after having many conversations with them, were at the end of their rope. Enough was enough. And the president of operations is Lawrence Frank, who has a reputation as a very reasonable man, extremely reasonable. And Tyronn Lue has been known to be a player's coach, yet they couldn't put up with Chris Paul anymore. To me, good riddance, go elsewhere. You know, I'll see you at the Hall of Fame, and you'll probably even get my vote. You know, you won't be a high-impact Hall of Famer, but I think Chris Paul has done enough on his body of work where I think he should get in someday. But beyond that, good riddance to him.
Jack. This take is, you said Chris Paul is a pain in the butt. This take is a first-class pain in the butt right now because, look, you put all the blame on Chris Paul and what he's doing, and what I get it. He's not talking to the coach. I think that's disrespectful. Yes. His approach throughout the history of his game and how long he's been playing, there's been stories and accounts that some players will come out and say, hey, I just didn't like the way he talked to me, or he had a not a good approach. Fine. I'll give you that, because I get it. As in management, as you get older, you got to learn how to talk to people, man, because you're not going to get things done. You're not going to be effective in your communication if your approach is just direct and one way, no adjustments with different players or coaches or execs alike. You got to learn to talk to people. Fine. I'll give you that as well. But let's not look at this and say that a first ballot Hall of Famer, an elite player used to be an elite player, deserves an unceremoniously trip home and to just be exited from the team. I think this opens up the can of worms of the underlying issues that have existed with the LA Clippers when Chris Paul was on the team and after he was off the team as well. It's just, and of course now it's just come to a head because he's probably coming in when he comes back to this team and seeing the dysfunction has gotten worse at where they are. And now, mind you, they are 6-17 as a team. They're 6-17. And you got star players. You got the same general manager that made the worst trade in the history of existence for what's his name? Paul George. And OKC is reaping the benefits of that right now as we speak. And with the player that they happen to trade and give away, that's last year's MVP, last season's MVP, and doing it really big right now in OKC. So I'm not saying that Chris Paul shouldn't change his approach, that he shouldn't have changed how he talked, because he's not the unequivocal leader of that team. But somebody sees something, and there's someone that used to be a field general that has understanding of how structurally things should be. Even if he didn't win the championship, Jack, you don't have to win a championship to still be a great player and have done. I disagree with your take as far as putting him up there with who'd you say? What's the guy that played for
Jason Kidd and Isaiah Thomas.
Oh, come on, man. He's up in that echelon as well. This dude's got 12 All-Star appearances, 11 first team 11 first team All NBA. He's got 6 steals. Leader. He was a leader 6 steals 5 times and assists 6 times. He's a true point guard, just like Jason Kidd was and Isaiah. He just had a dysfunctional team. Don't put it all on Chris George when he was with LA Clippers. Who's the coach that can't win? That was there. That was there in Boston and also in Milwaukee and destroying a great team.
Doc Rivers
Doc
Yeah.
Rivers, absolutely.
But he's with Tyronn Lue, who won an NBA championship as a
I
coach.
agree, but he also won an NBA championship with arguably one of the greatest players to ever play the game with LeBron James. And that was a Herculean effort also with LeBron James and Kyrie Irving to win a 3-1. I mean, he got it, yes. He won a championship. But what has he done since then without LeBron? With the Clippers? I mean, come on. What are they doing here? I mean,
they won the playoffs last year where they lost a tough 7-game series to the defending champion Denver Nuggets. So they were very competitive.
Whether you're the same person that always speaks on no moral victories here. Whether you win or lose, you didn't win, you didn't get it done. I get it. It was 7-game series. It's fair. But again, fair or unfair, you didn't get it done outside of nobody gives LeBron James any credit for losing those championships.
Any coach that wins with LeBron James, don't give him any credit. Well, he had LeBron James. Let's not give Phil Jackson any credit while we're at it. He had Jordan and Pippen and then Kobe.
It worked both ways. I get it. I get it.
Any credit at all.
I get it. But LeBron has gone to other teams and still won a championship. I'm just saying that, yes, you give him credit, but you're supposed to continue to win. My point is bringing up, don't just make it seem like Chris Paul is some bum or just because he didn't win a championship. He's up there, like you said. I'm pretty sure he's first ballot.
He's a future Hall of Famer. Again, I repeat, he is not.
I'm saying to not include him in top 10 either. To not include him in top 10, probably greatest point guards. We can agree to disagree on that because I think he's going to be, when it's all said and done, and he may have tarnished his legacy a little bit with his behavioral issues. I mean, with how his approach, but at the same time, you got to hold everybody culpable in this situation. I think he's been made to be a scapegoat in this situation because there's something underlying and worse. I don't think Chris Paul has ever done anything like this to not talk to a coach. There's got to be something.
Paul is an unpopular guy. He's kicked around the league. Why did he move on from San Antonio? He could have been a great mentor for young players like Dylan Harper. I mean, but he moves team to team. His act reportedly is worn thin on people. They're not comfortable around them.
I admit that his approach, again, I mean, as you get older, especially if you're a millennial and you're managing Gen Zs, it's just got to be different. You got to especially if you're not the same guy talent wise, you got to change. I'll admit to that. You got to change that a little bit. But again, I think dropping him off the team from the team this is supposed to be his ceremoniously way out of the game, coming back to the Clippers, likely ultimately they building a statue for him out in the front. I don't know if that's going to happen now. And you just look at it, it's like, okay, I don't know what the deal is, what all the situation is, but I think some of the bigger issues here is that they're hiding some of the things that are going on more so and using Chris Paul as a scapegoat for this situation. So part of it is his fault. I think the majority is the team's fault.
Let me ask you this. Have you ever been a supervisor who's had people working under you?
I am now.
You are now. What happens if someone working under you refuses to talk to you? And it's going on, just refuses to talk to you. And the person working under you puts down the people in the office and he puts down management that they don't know what they're doing, this. You'll have numerous talks with them, I'm sure, because I know the type of person you are. You'll sit down, you'll explain things calmly in a rational way. You'll have enough talks with them. Isn't it finally going to get to the point, no matter, even if they've worked for the darn company for 25 years, hypothetically, and they were there long before you, and it gets to the point where you just enough, you can't deal with them anymore.
This is the problem I have with that. Like, I'm glad you said that. Yes, because the situation, him not talking to a coach can cause division. It can create a hostile environment, not talking to the coach because you're indirectly just disregarding the person. You're creating a situation where he can't lead you. He can't direct you. He can't give you information because you're just not talking to him at all. That's not a good place. But there's ways to handle that. You don't just get rid of a person. I haven't heard anything about
They
suspension.
handled it by
Let me
trying to
finish. I
communicate
haven't
with
heard
them. They
anything about
handled it.
suspension. I haven't heard anything about a suspension or they sent him home and they parted ways. And that I get it. There's been accounts, but usually when someone is not playing or someone is not there's some disciplinary action. There's something that's been said about it. I hadn't heard any of that.
James, it's more humiliating to suspend Chris Paul and to discipline him. It would be more humiliating with someone who's been in the league that long and has his, and has his
That's
pedigree.
goofy, Jack, because this is ultimately the most humiliating thing here, where we are now. And that's the thing in management. You can't just tell a player that we're gonna let you go, because obviously he went to social media and said I'm no longer on the team or whatever, but they didn't go. This is a surprise to everybody. You can't tell me it wasn't a surprise to you. There was nothing that you heard that said that led to this. Everything that we're hearing is after the fact. Is after.
We didn't know. You never know what's going on behind the scenes. Why would we know what's going on, the turmoil in the locker room or wherever?
Because typically, if a player's not playing, they say why. They don't just say or
14 minutes a game.
Scratch. But again, this is not a player that's a starter on the team. So, but he is a player that deserves the recognition of saying okay, the respect that you at least put it out there that these things are going on. This is probably and he's been suspended. Like you said, it could be embarrassing, but this is ultimately the ultimate embarrassment here. Where we are now.
There's no union, Richard. By the way, the union can't get involved if they want to just release a player. If they were going to fine them or something like that, then there's appeals. But just they can release anyone they want, hypothetically, any team.
Mm-hmm. I'm just listening to both arguments here about the situation. I think really comes down to, and James, I've worked in management too. I work in management too, but I've seen companies that have have employees that talk a lot about their company in a negative manner, and they will approach that person and say, "Hey, you need to chill out on that." And now I haven't had an employee that has never talked to me. I never had that yet. I hope that never happens. But that and the fact that he is spewing negativity in the locker room, regardless what he thinks the organization should be, he's still a small cog in that organization, regardless. He's a great player. He will go into the Hall of Fame, and he's at the downturn of his career right now, and probably that was sufferable in the beginning of his career and during the middle of his career when he was actually doing things for the organization. This is how funny organizations are. When you become the lesser of the cog, it's like you're expendable. And I think that's what what the management. I'm not too sure, but I think that this is one of the many releases of things that are going to happen with the Clippers right now, because the Clippers, you're right, are in turmoil. They could have, and to Jack's credit, they should have went to a championship with the players that they had on there at one point, and they didn't. And that's just, I don't know if that's support coaching or whatever the case may be. How long has Lou been the coach for the Clippers? About a year and a half, 2 years?
3 years? 3 years, I think. 3
years.
3-4 years. So I think so. Yeah.
I think this might be and I'm not looking at it as a target for Chris Paul. I'm looking at it more like they're trying to clean house in some different ways, and they're using the player as an example. And probably the next person will probably go is Tyronn Lue. I just have that feeling that that's what the Clippers are trying to do right now. Now, I'm not saying that's a dysfunctional organization. It probably is a dysfunctional organization. But based on what the NBA level is and what most teams do, even bad teams, and how they feel they're going to, fix the situation is get rid of the bad apples. And Chris Paul is a bad apple just because he's got a big mouth. Okay. It ain't about his playing. His playing has been sustained. But, and you're right. You got to learn how to talk to people. And if you go to different organizations and they don't want you there because you don't know how to talk to folks, that's a problem. That's communication. That's one main thing you have to have with your organization is communication. If you don't have that, there's problems. So I can see the reason why they released him unceremoniously and not fined him or did anything like that. I mean, he was the one that went on social media and told everybody he was, released from the team before the team even mentioned anything about it. So that's the point I'm trying to make right there. You put yourself out there, you're going to get what you put out there. And like I said, it was. I don't disagree with what the Clippers did. They probably just did that just for the case of the fact that they're getting ready to get rid of a lot of people on that roster anyway, with the team playing so poorly right now. And it might not just be Chris Paul. It might be another couple players. It might be the coach himself. I have no idea. But usually when they start doing stuff like that, there's a domino effect that goes on. So good luck to the Clippers. I hope they succeed in what they're trying to do.
I just want one last word on the matter quickly. The Clippers didn't want to do this. They hated doing this because they know it creates a terrible narrative, because he's a guy who has pedigree within the franchise's history. Like you mentioned with a statue, it was a very difficult decision for the Clippers to do, and they really wanted to avoid doing this. They didn't make this decision lightly. Had Chris Paul not been an issue off the court, they never would have done this based strictly on his play, even at this point in his career.
Well, yeah, I mean, I understand that too. I mean, if you have somebody that's been there for a while and has contributed to your organization greatly, it's hard to let those people go. It's hard. I'm sure for any professional organization that's a team, it's hard to let any coach go, any player go, stuff like that. I mean, you always see the coaches and the owners get up there after they release somebody or release a coach or whatever the case may be, and they're always like, he did a great job for us, but we just didn't come to terms for certain things, so we had to let him go. We wish you good luck in your future endeavors, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, it's hard to let anybody go. I mean, especially if they show loyalty to you and they put yourself in positions that you could win stuff. So I get that. All right. Here's a good one. Both Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft are finalists on this year's ballot for the Football Hall of Fame. If you could only vote for one, which one would it be? James, go for it.
Okay. I looked at both of these and I say this is a tough choice. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's not a tough choice. There's only one of these two that's really the number one I'm going to choose. And of course, it's going to be Bill Belichick. And look, Bob Kraft hired Bill Belichick and gave him the reins, not only as a head coach, but as the general manager. And he went with it. To me, look, we can talk about Bill Belichick as a coach and as a guy that drafted Tom Brady. But not only that, he had Richard Seymour, he had Ty Law, Teddy Bruschi, a lot of these big name guys that you're going to mention or that you would look at and say Mike Vrabel. I mean, a lot of guys that that were like scrappy guys too, but guys that he knew that could play and play their roles. And defensively, those early Super Bowls that they were winning defensively. I mean, they weren't, and winning by the skin of their teeth with the field goal at the end. And so Tom Brady wasn't the main man in the beginning. I mean, he grew into that. But at the same time, those defenses were phenomenal. And that's, to me, the architect was Bill Belichick. And right now, this guy, I mean, look, he's got, 23, 25, what is it? Appearances in regards. No, they got 17 AFC East titles, 9 Super Bowl appearances, and 6 championships under his watch. He's about to be a Hall of Fame coach. You can argue that he can go in as an NFL exec as well because of what he's done with the team in regards to like the people that he's put onto the team. So even though he's not, he's going in only potentially as a head coach. And I also got to say, he definitely deserves to be, a candidate right now because he's got the most playoff wins as well, 31 as well. I mean, it's just easy, man. I like Bob Kraft, and I like the fact that he ran a great organization. He took over the team in '94, and they've been doing it ever since. But Bill Belichick, man, even before and after, whether you look at, his record with Cleveland and what he's done subsequently, I still think, again, everybody has their time and it has their reign regardless. Again, someone not only as a head coach, but also as a general manager was at the top. And he was, during his reign, he was at the cream of the crop. So I'm going to go with Bill Belichick.
Yeah, Bill Belichick's an obvious slam dunk Hall of Famer. So it's not a question of putting down his credentials. He easily should get on in the first ballot. But the question is, if only one Bill Belichick or Robert Kraft should get to the Hall of Fame, it should be Robert Kraft. I just want to say, as far as you giving Belichick credit for drafting Brady in the 6th round, it's the 6th round. Everyone takes a fly in the 6th round. Imagine had someone taken Brady right before he took him in the 6th round. What a fiasco that would have been. Belichick also, if we're going to be fair about it, he's the same guy who refused to put Malcolm Butler in the Super Bowl game against the Philadelphia Eagles when the secondary was getting torched because of some petty argument, and that very well may have cost the Patriots that Super Bowl. I mean, we got to keep that in mind. Bill Belichick's the same guy, if we want to circle back to Tom Brady, who finally forced Robert Kraft to allow Bill Belichick to move on from Tom Brady, because Bill Belichick assured Robert Kraft that Brady is past his peak. He doesn't have much gas in the tank. Brady goes on and wins a Super Bowl. His first year, they get rid of him. He wins a Super Bowl. This is the guy that he couldn't get rid of quick enough after a while. He didn't win at Cleveland. Okay, let's be honest about it. A 36-44 record there. I want to give him some due as a defensive coordinator for the Giants. He was superb. Okay, but I also noticed those legendary Giant players are always bragging about Bill Parcells. They rarely mention Brady's name. Even LT, when they honored him, he didn't mention Belichick's name. He said, I just want to thank Bill Parcells. One guy after another is thanking Bill Parcells, on those Giant teams. You rarely hear them talk about Belichick, but if they mention Belichick's name, they'll say, oh, yeah, Bill was a good coach, too. Robert Kraft went to a Super Bowl without Belichick. Let's not forget that. They went to a Super Bowl. He's the guy who bought the state, basically got the lease on the stadium, turned that franchise upside down. And guess what? After Belichick left 2 years later, Kraft is winning again. He made the bold move to make Mike Vrabel. Belichick is a slam dunk Hall of Famer. And if we're talking about accomplishments, Bill Belichick is arguably the most accomplished coach in NFL history. I didn't say best, arguably, because of the 2 decades of success that the Patriots had in this overall win total and all. But Robert Kraft had, meant more to the franchise. He's the guy who set it on the way. He's the guy who hired Belichick eventually, too. Keep that in mind. Give him credit, for that. And he had Bill Parcells and Mike Vrabel. He's done some darn good things. And listen, they're both, Belichick's a slam dunk Hall of Fame. It's criminal that Robert Kraft has had to wait this long. I say put the two of them in together. That's the best possible narrative. But if only one's going to get in, I think it should be Kraft. But I think it would be criminal if Bill Belichick didn't get in the first year as well.
Well, I'm going to say you in regards to your argument, just to help your argument a little bit here, I agree with you about what you said about Robert Kraft going in, because it's criminal that he's not in. Because if you look at the people that are in, and let's talk about the guy that got in 2017 and Jerry Jones, if you compare the two histories there, clearly far and above the Patriots history is a little bit better there. And like I said, he got it in 2017. And I think in a shorter span, the history of the New England Patriots far exceeds what Jerry Jones was able to do with Dallas. Now, with that said, I'm going to have to disagree with you in regards to what you said about the Tom Brady situation, because that's always been in regards to letting him go because he thought he was done and past his prime. That's just been his MO, and it's worked for them. When you look at what they've done, they got rid of players before that was the MO before they start going downhill. They let him go. He had the money situation. I mean, to me, that's particular way of doing things, the Patriot way, I just thought it was brilliant, and it was a part of a bigger plan and scheme to be able to continue to plug and play, and get guys at really good contracts. That, from a business standpoint, that makes total sense to me. But he missed out. He missed. The will and determination of a Tom Brady obviously went down and won.
You might give him some credit, James. I'm going to back your argument up a little bit. In the beginning of Brady's career, he had Drew Bledsoe, maybe the highest paid QB in the league. He was going to be the Patriot franchise. He was a Patriot franchise quarterback and was going to be it going forward. Belichick had the guts. He saw something in Brady and practice, whatever, and replaced, Bledsoe with Brady. Belichick made that gutsy move. So I give him a lot of credit for that, as the way it turned out.
I just want to add something to here, because this is something that I'm not going to take any away from Bill Belichick, because for one thing, he is one of the greatest defensive coaches ever, besides Dick LeBeau. I think Dick LeBeau was a great defensive coordinator too. But I think that it's overblown because of Brady. I think once Brady came into himself, that team became more successful as it went on, and it didn't have to rely on the defense as much. I'm not saying Bill Belichick shouldn't get any credit for any of that. He should be in a Hall of Fame because of all of his accolades. But he's put in that spot because of what Kraft did. Kraft actually took a chance on him, and albeit he did let everybody know that he took a chance on Bill Belichick when Bill Belichick wasn't successful as a head coach, and took a chance on him so he can coach the Patriots. The things that I look at with Bill Belichick as far as being a head coach, not a defensive coordinator. When Tom Brady left, I wanted to see the maturation process between the two people. Okay, so Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay first year, and he showed the same selfishness and leadership that he showed when he was in New England. That's what got Tampa Bay a Super Bowl that year. First year he was there. Bill Belichick, however, I think he did make the playoffs that year, but they got blown out in the first round. And I'm like, okay, well, see, this is the problem that I have. Players do sometimes make your team. They do. It's just a fact of life. Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Wayne Gretzky. These are people that lead their teams, are leaders, and they'll get that team to their promised land because that's what they do. Tom Brady is that guy. The other thing that I saw too, that I kept in mind, is Bill Belichick's. You know how all the coaches have a coaching tree, right? Good coaches have coaching trees. Name one good coach off of that coaching tree of Bill Belichick's. You could say Vrabel, but other than that, who else? Sure ain't Matt Patricia. I can tell you that from experience watching him coach. There's nobody on his coaching tree that's good in the NFL.
Romeo Crennel, Charlie Weiss, Joe Judge, Josh McDaniels.
I was about to say those guys went on to do great things too, but it's just not at the level which you would think like a job.
They weren't head coaches. That's what I'm saying. They weren't successful head coaches.
Like a Wall Street.
Like I said, Vrabel is the only one that was a great coach out of that tree. Everybody else that went to go do head coaching jobs from that tree failed.
There's only so many Walshes and Parcells. I mean, trust me. Look at Nick Saban. He's had a tree, and Kirby Smart's doing okay. But a lot of those, with all the diamonds that you find, there's a lot of coals that fall out of the bag. That come from those trees, man. And just so it's just what it is. Everybody's not going to be successful.
Talking about
Nick Saban. He's talking about Nick Saban.
I didn't get it. Coals coming out of the trees.
I'm just not out of a tree. But I'm saying like I said, there's only some diamonds that you find in the rough, but most times you find a lump of coal. Without finding a diamond. So a lot.
Brian's saying you look at certain coaches like Bill Parcells. Look at his coaching tree: Sean Payton, Tom Coughlin, Bill Belichick. It's outstanding. But Belichick's coaching tree, well, that's Mike Vrabel, who's outstanding, and the other guys didn't quite pan. Is it Belichick's fault? I can't say it is. I mean, maybe it's just coincidental. Belichick is a slam dunk Hall of Famer. I don't see at first ballot. I can't see for the life of me how he can't get voted in. But once again, the question is Belichick or Kraft. If you can only pick one, you only have one door to pick. That's what the question is. No one is questioning Bill Belichick's worthiness. So just like you're not questioning Robert Kraft's worthiness, I don't think.
No.
Yeah, I don't. I think that. Well, basically, if you want to just name the person that should go first, I think it should be Robert Kraft. He's the one that get together everything. He's a cast, and you made a good point. He did win a Super Bowl without Bill Belichick.
Well,
he was in a Super Bowl without Bill Belichick.
I'm gonna pull stats. There's no way that a head coach does not go before. I mean, a great head coach. With the record that he has, that's going to go before. I mean, not go before NFL owner. It's going to always be the coach first before an NFL.
Well, we're talking about the career. If by some crazy circumstance the Cowboys run the table, get in the playoffs, and win the Super Bowl this year, Brian Schottenheimer should be voted ahead of Jerry Jones for who deserves.
That's ludicrous what you're saying. I'm giving you facts. I'm saying with the record, forget Brian Schottenheimer and his one supposed Super Bowl. We're talking about a guy that went to 9 and had 6. You can't even compare the two, man. That's a terrible argument.
The owner that he put him in the whole position to get that.
But you still got to go out there and do it and execute this, regardless of who you hire. I mean, that's fine. He got a stadium and he got to the Super Bowl before. They didn't win with Bill Parcells, mind you.
Belichick could not make all the moves he wanted as coach of the Patriots. Kraft had to sign off on certain things, and at times Kraft pushed back. That's why their relationship was so, because Kraft pushed back on certain things he wouldn't allow Belichick to do.
But it's still, again, the things that he did do, they far outweigh what he didn't do. It's the great success of a coach.
Coach of the Patriots, he was great.
That's what I'm saying. You can't just say. I'm just telling you. There's no writers. There's no anybody voting Hall of Fame. No voters are going to put Robert Kraft before Bill Belichick. There's no way. It's just not going to happen.
You would never put an owner in ahead of a coach, But then again, you take it has to be rare cases like George Halas, a legendary owner of the Chicago Bears, Wellington Mara, owner of the New York Giants. Those guys are so iconic as owners, they would go in ahead of a coach. And
I would give you that argument based on what the head coaches there did. I would give you that argument. But you're talking about arguably the most decorated head coach in the history of the game. One of them. And you're going to tell me you're going to put Bob Kraft in front of that?
Well, just by attribution, they're going to do that. And for anybody, it's very rare when an owner is going to go ahead of a coach anyway, because the coach is the working cog of the organization.
Exactly.
So it doesn't make a difference if the coach is even mediocre in the point, got you to 1 or 2 Super Bowls, they're still going to be there before the owner is. So, I mean, that's just something that just is going to happen. And to keep coaching trees are overrated, I'm not. I don't agree with that.
I gotta agree with
it's a resume. It's a resume. It's a resume outside your resume. So if you coach successful people, if you have coaches on your team that are successful when they leave, that means it's kind of like, let's go back to management. It's kind of like if you have an employee who is accelerating at what they're doing under you, and they're up for a position to go to management, and they get into management and they do very good there too. That's a direct result of you. I mean, it is them too. They have to put some work into it, but you're part of that success too, because you were the ones that mentored that whole situation. So yes, coaching trees to me matter. Sorry, that's just me. That's my opinion. So, but anyway, yeah, I think I would think that James is right, because BB's going to go in before Kraft is, but I still think that Kraft was the catalyst for the whole situation, because he was the one that took a chance on BB. And I'm not saying, and Kraft is a Hall of Famer in his own right as an owner. I mean, he's gone through a lot of stuff, regardless of his off the stadium issues. Okay, I think that's what a lot of people are going to look at.
I don't want to really talk about it anymore, but you've mentioned Kraft's off the field issues. Come on, I think. I'm
telling you, that still is
the
a part
person,
of
Jack, that gives T.O. some flack about what he's done, and you can't give Bob Kraft his stuff about what he's done off the field.
T.O.'s thing was done within the locker room.
Oh, come on, man! It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's still detrimental. It's still detrimental.
James, if I give you a list, name the 5 most selfish players ever. Okay, T.O. would be definitely in a great position.
Come on, man.
Number one.
My point in saying that is that I'm not going to hold that against Bob Kraft, but I'm just saying, for you to say that, I'm just saying, not saying it's hypocritical. It's still. It's not far different, man, that he bringing that up. I'm saying what you've done. I'm thinking what you've done in the confines of the green grass and the dotted lines is what should matter to get you into the Hall of Fame. That's all I'm saying. And what you've done as Bob Kraft, fine. If what happens to him outside, I'm not gonna say that should hold him back. He didn't murder anybody. He didn't do anything wrong. I mean, I'm not saying wrong, but he definitely got caught with his pants down, literally and figuratively. Let's move on
to the next question when we're getting to this point.
Oh my goodness! Oh, this is good. This is good. This is fun. This is what I love about you, Jack. You giving T.O. some flack about not being a first ballot Hall of Fame because of him breaking up teams and all this other kind of stuff. But again, you don't want to talk about the other stuff that Bob Kraft supposedly got involved in as well. I mean, it is what it is. I still think
Kraft didn't hurt the team. This situation, he was hurting his team with his conduct.
Oh, come on, man. Optics is everything, and so anyway. Yeah.
Next question. Is it time to disregard the title of the Dallas Cowboys being America's team? Jack, go ahead.
Yeah, as much as I like Jerry Jones, and believe it or not, I like Jerry Jones, and he keeps the Cowboys really relevant. I mean, we see him in the box all the time, and what do we have here? Why are owners qualified by 6 Super Bowls? What does this have? Oh, Jerry Jones has 3 Super Bowls, by the way. And the Cowboys haven't won a Super Bowl since, 1994 has it been? That was their last Super Bowl, I believe.
95.
Yeah. 95. So we're talking about 30 years ago. 30 years ago. Yet, Dallas is always in the news. And I know the franchise is popular. But if you want to go back to the early years of the Cowboys, I mean, it took them a while to get over the hump with Coach Tom Landry. They would lose to those legendary Packer teams, coached by Vince Lombardi. So they were always the bridesmaid until they had a breakthrough and won a couple. And then they cashed in on the Herschel Walker trade, did a fantastic job with the draft choices. Kudos to them. They went on a run. They won 3 out of 4 years. And the Cowboys were always charismatic with their receivers. Bullet Bob Hayes, the fastest man in the world, an Olympian. Michael Irvin, Deion Sanders, Emmitt Smith, Too Tall Jones. I'm not naming a bunch of other guys I can easily name who maybe I should have even named first. But so they were so charismatic. But it gets to a point, time goes by. They haven't been to a Super Bowl in 30 years. And they're not that close to getting to Super Bowl, even though they've had representative teams. I know not long ago that 3 seasons in a row where they went 12-5 every year, very good seasons, but they came up empty in the playoffs. I mean, if we're talking about America's team, all the sports involved, the Lakers are more America's team than the Cowboys, I think. I think the Lakers are more charismatic. Why don't we call the Lakers? We talk about all the sports. Why don't we call the Kansas City Chiefs? It's Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. They're more charismatic than this Cowboy team, and they're better. And the Lakers have been better. Why don't we call them that? I'm not even going to go there with the Yankees, only because the Yankees are considered unpopular in certain parts of the country still. Either they're extremely popular or very unpopular, but most fans like the Chiefs a lot. Most of them are, well, I shouldn't say because of LeBron that they necessarily like the Lakers, but the Lakers are bigger ticket as America's team with LeBron, Luka, and the Chiefs with Mahomes, Kelce are more America's team. And the Cowboys shouldn't have that title anymore as America's team.
So as fair as everything that you said, I can't argue with the greatness of the Lakers, the greatness of the Yankees, the greatness of these other teams, and the disparity in this situation is that 30 years they haven't won a championship. I'm going to have to disagree with you. I'm going to have to disagree with you as them being America's team, because it's not all based on championships. As much as I would have to agree that it should be, but it's not. It's not based on that. Obviously, back in the day, the Cowboys were winning championships. They won 5 total titles, 3 in the 90s, 2 in the 70s. And you had, all along the way, you had a lot of great players come through there. Like you said, Too Tall Jones. You had Roger Staubach, Tony Dorsett. A lot of those great names, just like, wow. But that big star means something. As much as we don't, whether you like it or disagree with it or you don't like it, you hate it, it brings about viewership. Mind you, they were one of the few teams that was on TV then. But that night when Jerry Jones took over, Jerry Jones started something. He was the architect that drove them into, catapulted them into greatness. Mind you, they're not great now, but there's a sustained viewership, and it's not just within the confines of Dallas. Many people love, and as much as I don't like any of these Dallas Cowboy fans, because I think they're delusional, many people love the Dallas Cowboys, and they will stick with them to the day that they die, even if they're losing. Jerry Jones, and it is a big part of that. It's like a big circus there. Like I said, you got a whole bunch of clowns in that organization, but they can win. They can win. Mike, what was the coach that was there that got fired? Mike
Holmgren. Not Mike Holmgren. McCarthy.
Mike McCarthy.
McCarthy, yeah.
One Super Bowl in his career, but he had them in contention. I mean, they had 4, 12, and 5 seasons.
5 in a row. Yeah, they were good. They were good.
And everybody was excited about it because people wanted to see them win. People want to see that star up in the air again. I think it's and to me, ultimately, what matters is what the final bottom line is. The most rich and worthy organization is the Cowboys. Their estimated worth is about $13 billion. and it's almost not even close to the next one right next to them, and that's the Rams at 10.5 or something like that. And then the Giants falls in the third at 10.3 or 10.1 or something like 10.1. And it's just phenomenal how they don't win, but they not only stay relevant, but stay ahead of everybody else in regards to what people are wanting to see. People want to see them win. Regardless of, like you said, the Lakers have more wins. But it's basketball. People want to see football. And when they watch football, football has more viewership and they make more money than all the sports. And Dallas is right at the forefront. I mean, New England Patriots probably arguably in this millennium is the best team in existence. But yet the dysfunction and everything else that goes on in Dallas still makes America's team.
You make a good point, but I want to just play devil's advocate before Brian goes for a moment. You're a fan in one of the other cities, not in the major city, but you have a sports franchise. You have an NFL team, you have a Major League Baseball team. The Cowboys are coming into play. Obviously, the prices are going to be a little higher for the Cowboy games, maybe a lot higher than for certain other teams. But at least they're teams that can compete with the Cowboys on the same level for people wanting to see them, like the Green Bay Packers, for example, an iconic team with a reputation, the Kansas City Chiefs. The tickets might be just as high for that. But if they also have a Major League Baseball team and the Yankees are coming to their city with Aaron Judge, the Yankees would have a greater impact sport for sport. Oh, the Yankees are coming. There'd be a more magic there as America's team to see the Yankees play than there would be to see the Cowboys play within their sport.
Let's get one thing correct though about the Dallas Cowboys and this America's team prophecy. This had nothing to do with Jerry Jones. This was put on them way before Jerry Jones even got there. And an announcer, I believe, was the one that sports writer or announcer was the one that deemed them America's team, just out of context. It wasn't really something that he manufactured. It was more like, yeah, this was America's team, just out of, because they were playing like that. This is when they were in their heyday, winning Super Bowls as well with Roger Staubach. So, I mean, I think that the monikers like that, and Jerry Jones is going to keep that. He doesn't really need the team to be called America's team because Dallas Cowboys are always relevant, no matter if they're 3-13 or 3-14 or 14-3, because he does that. And he's admitted that several times over the last few years. He likes to keep the Dallas Cowboys in people's mouths all the time because he keeps it relevant that way. That's how you make profit. And that's, to Jerry Jones, that's awesome for him. I'm glad he does that kind of stuff. We all kind of think he's weird, but at the same time, he's keeping that team relevant. And that's the reason why he's keeping that team relevant. So America's team, that just shouldn't be donned on any team. I know they try to do that to the Lions when the Lions were starting to do really good. So don't do that. Don't do that. I disapprove of that one totally. Don't do that for any team, and even includes New England. Keith, I understand the Patriots and stuff like that. Nobody wants. Nobody's gonna. Not in this century. Maybe in the last century they might say that would be true if what New England did happen last century. But this century, people aren't like that. They don't want to call anybody America's team. And that's just the way the people are set up nowadays. So calling a team America's team, I just can't. I can't. You haven't done anything in this century to be called America's team. And to what Keith said, I would just say that Patriots should be the one. If you're going to call anybody America's team, them. So, but I don't agree in calling anybody America's team, whether it's the Cowboys, the Lions, the Patriots, the Chiefs, anybody. It'd be a good team. Got your own monikers. You remember the days when we used to have nicknames for defenses and offenses, Air Coryell and the Steel Curtain and the Orange Crush. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear about no stupid America's team. No America's team. All of it's America. It's America. But anyway, number one brand in sports. Yeah, they are. They are number one brand. I'm not taking that away from them, but you don't call them America's team. I mean, that's like saying the president's choosing a team.
Well, that's my argument is what makes them America's team continuously. I mean, like you said, the guy said that, but it again, the brand stuck. And so, and it works. Psychologically, their fans are like internationally based. And so anywhere they go play, you can look in the stands and see there are many fans that are there. So that, I mean, the brand, like he said, the brand is there. So the moniker is going to stay with them, I think, until they just totally fall off, which they have won a championship. But I think, like I said, Jerry Jones, like you said, he keeps that up, and he found a way to have them relevant, not only just relevant, but like thriving in their brand. So it's just what it is.
I think the thing that I like more about Dallas is the whole "how about them Cowboys." That seems to be more of prevalence than saying America's team to me.
You know what it is, guys. I think I could speak for the two of you that you're on board with myself. I can only wear caps and shirts of my teams, the Yankees and the Jets. As nice as other logos are going to look. I once went in a storm in Pennsylvania. I loved the Pittsburgh Steeler. Not jersey. They had like a shirt, this and that. And I said, wow, that looks good. Like to wear. I couldn't bring myself to wear it, so I wouldn't get it. But the average fan who's not so stuck up on his team, they'll wear other teams' logos and caps. And I will say this for the Dallas Cowboys, more people wear the Dallas Cowboy logos, maybe the Chiefs now. Even the Raiders are popular, believe it or not, and they've been bad because people are waiting for Raider breakthrough. It's like their brand. Like the Lions, no offense to the Saints, they don't have much of a brand. The Jets don't have much of a brand either. Yeah, quite honestly, outside of their respective cities. They don't. Let's be honest about it. How many people are you going to see wearing Jet, Lion, or Saint brands? Maybe the Lions a little more. Maybe their logo is a little more appealing. I don't know. But it's something about the Cowboys and the Raiders, their logos, you see the average person, wearing them.
I will say to feed into your argument, what you said earlier about the Yankees. As a kid, we didn't have a baseball team, but in middle school, I wore the NY fitted cap because I wasn't a fan of it. It's just how the impact was. I wasn't a fan of baseball, but I was a fan of the Yankees because that's just what the impact was. And so, I wore that cap as a kid in middle school. I loved it. So yeah, I agree. And that just shows you how they translate it, is what I'm saying.
Well, with Aaron Judge now, if someone came into Atlanta, if the Cowboys came into Atlanta to play the Falcons, they'd be a big ticket team because they're the Cowboys. But if the Yankees came in to play the Braves with Aaron Judge, I think it would have a little more of a buzz. Maybe because of Aaron Judge, because they have a mega star who's charismatic.
I mean, wearing players' jerseys is one thing. I think that I've worn a LeBron jersey before, a Carmelo jersey before. I've wore a White Sox hat, which if you knew me now, you'd be like, "Ooh, I want a picture of that." But I mean, it's all about being younger too. And when you're a sport now, having said that, the only thing I really didn't, I kind of say I was a Bronco fan too at a time because I had a Bronco jersey as well, but I was more of a Lions fan then as well. I mean, I was more a Lions fan then as well. But when you're younger, you tend to go outside of your context just to be something different. All right. So if you're a sports person and you do that, you end up wearing all kinds of stuff. But as you get older, you're like, nope, ain't happening. Nope, you're stubborn. You get stubborn. It's like, I'm not wearing nobody else's jersey. I don't care how nice it looks. I mean, I like for instance, I like Green Bay's all green uniforms. You think I'm gonna go out there and get me an all green no, not Green Bay. Nope, ain't happening. So it's all about the relevance of what you feel as a fan And the Raiders are another perfect example of people not calling them America's team, calling them America's black eye as far as a team. But anyway, but they have a long history too, and it's not all of losing. They've won stuff, so it's not like they, it's just people are just weird. And it's how it's marketed. And like I said, Jerry Jones does a very good job of marketing the Cowboys. And even the fact that we're even talking about the Dallas Cowboys right now tells you how good he is. Because this shouldn't be an argument. Nobody should care. But we have it as a topic. But having said that, that'll bring us to the end of this show. Very good debates today, people. Let's see. Let me get rid of this here. And thank you for everybody for showing up. Keith, thank you for sharing us today. Our usual suspects as well that are on the comedy. Thank you very much for joining in. And everybody have yourself a very good rest of your Saturday. See you later.